Hi guys, you are watching Weekend Movie Channel. This time I have collected 10 best horror movies with unexpected endings. In the selection I added only those movies, the denouement of which influenced the perception of the whole picture. That is, either completely overturned the idea of what was shown, or explained the true motives of the characters or some events. Therefore, there will be no movies with unexpected but still just shocking endings, like The Mist. After watching, write in the comments what other good movies you know that are not included in the selection, and I'll get to the top. Orphan. Kate and John, a couple raising a son and a deaf daughter, lost their third child before she was born. The tragedy almost destroyed the Coleman family, but they find a way out. To take in a destitute 9-year-old orphan Esther, and with her help, restore peace and quiet in the house. However, it soon becomes obvious that something is wrong with the girl. She shows more and more attention to her father, while all attempts of her mother to get closer fail. In addition, Esther skillfully manipulates her new brother and sister, and the tension around her grows every day. The movie has weaknesses, may seem a bit drawn out, and the main plot twist is not very sophisticated. But nevertheless, this twist is quite memorable, so the picture gained a lot of popularity all over the world and good ratings on movie resources. Orphan. The Lodge. The plot centers on a family in discord. The mother calls her 2 children to her husband for the weekend, and when they meet he informs her that a divorce is necessary after all. With this begins a series of sad and even terrible events. The head of the family, Richard, has a new couple. A girl named Grace with a dubious past, barely survived after escaping from the sect. Neither Grace nor Richard are eager to tell about these details of her life, but the children are able to find out this entertaining information on their own. The children are reluctant to accept their father's new girlfriend, but Richard decides that it is necessary to bring Grace and the children together and sends them to a country house for Christmas vacation. This is a great horror movie, but with one caveat: the movie belongs to the so-called slow burners. Horror movies where violence, revenge, and other nightmares are served to the viewer in an almost chilling way. Usually viewers from such movies are either delighted or exactly the opposite. First of all, I advise it to those who liked such pictures as It Follows or The Witch, a New England folktale. The Lodge. Ghostland. Single mom Colleen and her teenage daughters Beth and Vera move into a house in the middle of nowhere that was bequeathed to them by a deceased relative. On the first night in the new place, the family is attacked by 2 maniacs. The trio only miraculously manages to escape. Years pass, Beth becomes a famous horror writer, but Vera never manages to recover. She goes insane. When Beth returns home to help her mother, she begins to have frightening visions. This picture combines 2 directions of horror movies: an atmospheric mystical horror movie that scares with sudden loud sounds and dark visions, and also a slasher about women's attempts to fight off mad and ruthless maniacs, one of whom is strong and the other is smart. The picture is certainly quite violent and grim, but the same plot twist makes the story more interesting and more inventive than just showing solid violence. Ghostland. The Cabin in the Woods. 5 young people go to an old summer cottage in the woods near a lake to spend a weekend there. When they arrive at the place, they naturally start to have a blast, in the process discovering the entrance to the cellar, among which is a diary of the young daughter of the former owners of the cabin, who lived there at the beginning of the last century. By reading a spell in Latin from this diary, the young people revive an ancient evil. In fact, it turned out to be only a small part of the whole story, which will really surprise, although at first it will seem terribly familiar. This movie is perfect for all fans of horror movies. In the picture there are frightening moments, but also full of funny and ironic in their own way. There is a great use of all kinds of genre stamps and cliches, which is definitely appreciated by all viewers. A lot of cynical jokes, unexpected plot twists, as well as references to classic horror films. The Cabin in the Woods. Jacob's Ladder. Jacob Singer was wounded during the war effort in Vietnam. After returning home to New York, unusual things begin to happen to him. After a while, he realizes that he has no control over reality. Horrible memories of all the nightmares of the war and of his son gradually begin to drive Jacob crazy. His only support remains his friend Louis, but further events develop even worse. First of all, this movie is one of the most underrated about the Vietnam War. The picture combines the genres of mystical horror and drama, and its script is actually worthy of big awards. The story is quite metaphorical, and the keys to a conventional understanding of what is happening are numerous religious references scattered throughout the narrative. The movie is much deeper than just a story about a war veteran going mad, and its full meaning is revealed only closer to the unexpected finale. Jacob's Ladder. The Skeleton Key. 25-year-old Caroline takes a job as a caregiver to an elderly invalid Ben, the owner of a huge mansion near Louisiana. His wife Violet hands the girl a universal key to all the doors in the house. One day, Caroline discovers a secret room in the attic with a mass of mystical objects. The landlady claims that the things belong to the former owners, who practiced black magic. Soon Caroline witnesses rather strange and inexplicable events, and decides to unravel the secret of the mysterious room by all means. The creators of the movie do not really try to scare the viewer. There are enough, but still not so many scary moments. However, the bets here are made on something else. On a strong script, convincing actors' images, on the intrigue and the final twist, which turns the whole story upside down. A strong atmospheric movie, which will be interesting to revisit even if you have already seen it. The Skeleton Key. The Orphanage. Laura's childhood was spent in an old orphanage, where she returns after 30 years with her husband and adopted boy Simon. The protagonist decides to restore the orphanage and take several orphans under her care. But before taking on the upbringing of other people's children, Laura has to learn to cope with her own. The boy makes up invisible friends and plays strange games with them. The fun would remain fun, but one day Simon disappears without a trace. In search of her son, the heroine discovers the terrible fate that befell her childhood home. Moderately frightening and moderately original movie on the familiar theme of a haunted house. The main drawback of the picture is that in some places it sags, almost loses its mystical thread and becomes more like an ordinary drama. However, the tape quickly returns to the elements of horror, and the main thing has an excellent balanced ending, creepy, unexpected, and sentimental. The Orphanage. The Visit. Becca and her younger brother Tyler have never seen their grandparents. Years ago, the boy's mother had a falling out with her parents and left home. Teenagers decided to restore the broken family ties and went to the old people on vacation. Except that the grandparents, nice and friendly at first glance, behave very strangely and seem to be hiding something terrible. This picture is a hybrid of comedy and horror movie. Moreover, this combination turned out to be very organic. Components of two genres are not mixed, as it happens in classic horror comedies like Evil Dead. In The Visit, humor is adjacent to the creepy scenes, but stays away from them, leaving room for suspense and tension. The abrupt change of mood from light to pressurized and gloomy happens many times and does not let you get used to it or get bored. The Visit. Hereditary. Annie Graham is an artist who makes miniature dioramas of an autobiographical nature. She lives in a huge house almost in the woods with her husband, son, and daughter. Annie's mother dies, 78-year-old Ellen. At the funeral, the artist gives a speech, saying that they have never been particularly close because the mother has always been a woman secretive. And soon strange and terrible events begin to happen to the Graham family, the beginning of which will be a call from the cemetery, informing Annie's husband that the grave has been desecrated by someone. The picture was on the list not by chance, although it does not shock the viewer with a sudden twist at the end. The terrible truth is revealed gradually throughout the movie. However, to understand where everything is going, the viewer must be attentive to the smallest details, and only the ending will answer the questions that arise throughout the tape. This picture, although it is compared to the classics, actually destroys traditional ideas about horror movies, without unnecessary fuss, without numerous screamers, being first of all a hell of an interesting and high-quality tape with great acting. The story first distracts the viewer's attention, and then already scares him when he turns out to be completely unprepared. A movie that will be revisited over the years. Hereditary. The Others. 1945. Grace takes her sick children to a mansion on an island off the coast of England to await the end of World War II, from which her husband is due to return. Her children, Anne and Nicholas, suffer from a rare disease. They are photosensitive to such an extent that they have to be hidden from sunlight at all times. So Grace has made a strict rule. Only one door in any room must be open at a time, and all windows must be blacked out. But something spooky starts happening in the house. The children see ghosts, and Grace herself is overcome by frightening visions. Impressive atmospheric gothic horror about an old haunted mansion. In its time at the box office, the picture became a box office hit, largely thanks to an interesting scary story with a gorgeous twist at the end, as well as a brilliant performance by Nicole Kidman, for which she was even nominated for a Golden Globe. The movie was highly appreciated by both ordinary viewers and critics. The tape has high ratings on various movie resources, and it can often be found in different lists and ratings, especially when it comes to movies with unexpected denouements. The Others. Well, this is it. Thanks for watching. Share your movie impressions in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and put the big thumbs up. See you. Bye.